What up, everybody? It's your boy Sack the King up in this motherfucker, man. Back with another edition of Game Time. As y'all can see from the title, don't be afraid of the word no. Sometimes rejection is a blessing. Now, before I get all into the examples, hey man, make sure you hit that subscribe button below so you can be the first to know and help the channel grow. I'm still trying to give away $100 to a random subscriber once I reach 1,000. Now I got about 299 more to go. So make sure you hit that subscribe. Make sure you like this video so it gets in the algorithm. Make sure you comment so it's an engagement. Make sure that you share these videos if you like anything on my channel. It don't have to be this particular video, but make sure you share something because the more people that subscribe, it could be a better chance for you to win $100. I'm trying to give away some free money, man. Everybody should like free money. Anyways, man, make sure you also follow my new Instagram, Sack_the_king. All right, now let's get into the topic. Like I said, from the title, don't be afraid of the word no. Sometimes rejection can be a blessing. And what I mean by that is, that goes with employment, that goes with females or males, particularly, most of the times that people face rejection, it's when they're trying to get a new job or they're trying to get something new that they don't have. You know what I mean? Maybe it might not be something new. Maybe it might be something that they did have and that they want again. But rejection usually comes in the form of, a person pursuing something, that they want. Most of the time it's employment and females, and in my case, as I can say, in life. You know what I'm saying? Maybe y'all can give me some other examples in the comments. All right, but this is why, I'm going to give y'all a few examples of why you shouldn't be afraid of the word no and how rejection can turn into a blessing, man. First example, you know what I'm saying? It's kind of, no, I'll give y'all another example first. It's been many times in my life where I wanted to get other jobs, to make more money, obviously, and I've been turned down for jobs, right? So let me tell y'all about a couple of examples. So one time I was working 2 jobs, right? I was working for UPS and I was working for motherfucking the mall, Sunrise Mall, right? Now, I used to get up at like 8 o'clock in the morning, 7 o'clock in the morning to be at the mall by like 9. I get off at like 4 to be at UPS by 5. So I'm driving from Sunrise and fucking Greenback all the way to West Sacramento on Harbor Boulevard, I think it is. Now, if you're from Sacramento, at those times, first of all, that's a long ass distance. Second of all, that shit is in the middle of rush hour. So it's taking me at exactly an hour to get from one job to another. And the mall job, I had to dress up in a tie and shit just to dress into some clothes that I don't want to wear because I was loading trucks, at night. Anyways, man, I remember, I applied for this for the manager job because I've been working there for like 2 years and I knew everything, you know what I mean? And the manager, she left, right? So they were doing like interviews or whatever, and the regional manager came. She used to have to cover down on the manager shift, but me and her talked, and I'm like, I'm pretty interested in this position. I was already doing everything that the manager did anyway when nobody was there. You know what I'm saying? Opening the store, closing the store, you know what I mean? Anyways, I remember they brought this lady on. I forget her name, but she was like the regional manager of Taco Bell or some shit at one point. You know what I mean? They ended up hiring her. Now, with them hiring her, I had to teach her job. I had to teach her whole job. So I'm like, bruh, how are you going to bring somebody in, not hire me, and for me to turn around and have to teach them this job? Longer story short, I didn't like this lady's attitude at all. She came in there thinking that she knew it all. She came in there trying to fuck up the whole system of what we had going on. You know what I mean? No, people ended up quitting. She fired like 2 other people, some really nice girls that worked there that had been working there even longer before me. So it just kind of rubbed me the wrong way, the whole situation. You know what I'm saying? Needless to say, I went and I moved on to a better job, which I started working for the state. I had like a 6-month contract where I was processing their mail, you know what I'm saying, in their mailroom. Which turned out better for me anyway, because that's a whole nother story for a whole nother time, man. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, but my point is that if I wouldn't have been rejected from that job, I wouldn't have first off found a better paying job that paid me. I think I was making like $9 an hour at the mall, and I was making like $10 an hour at UPS. So I had to, but I'm working like 12, 13-hour days, you know what I'm saying? Because the nighttime job was only like 5 hours at UPS, and the daytime job was like 8 hours, you know what I'm saying? So I get the job with the state, and I'm making like $14 an hour, which at that time, this is back in like 2014. That was great money 10 years ago, you know what I'm saying? $14 for me anyways, you know what I mean? Coming from a $9 an hour job where I have to dress up, stand on my feet all fucking day, and deal with who knows who's coming. And then just to get off work, drive a whole hour to work at UPS and make like $9-10 an hour where I'm loading trucks nonstop all night long, and it's peak season. So, cause I got hired during like the holiday time, right? I remember like the first 2 weeks, my hands was so blistered. I had to go. I don't know nothing about loading the shit. My hands wasn't blistered; they was bruised, I should say. You know what I mean? And I ended up getting some gloves and shit. But man, that was back-breaking work all night, and that shit was coming. It wasn't really no break time, and you had to scan. So they judging you on how many boxes and shit you scan loading the truck every night. You know what I'm saying? Needless to say, them rejecting me, the regional manager not even giving me an interview for that and rejecting me for that mall position worked out in my favor, because I got a better job. Even though it was only a 6-month contract, I ended up, that was the job before I got into the government service. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, I was making $14 an hour, so I didn't have to even work as hard. I was in at 6, out by like 2:30. You know what I'm saying? Every day, Monday through Friday. So that was even more better. You know what I mean? I had way more time to do what the fuck I wanted to do with my day. But I remember doubling back to the mall, you know, just to see how things are going, maybe like 2 or 3 months after I had quit that shit, you know what I mean? And I remember too, I didn't like that bitch that they hired anyway. And I remember I came from my shift, and she's like, "Oh, why ain't you dressed up?" You know, she had an attitude with me already. I said, "Oh, because I quit." You know what I'm saying? "I'm out of here. Let me sign whatever paper." I knew it was a paper that you had to sign saying that you quit. And she had to double down on my shift that day. Yeah, bitch. I don't even remember her name, but fuck her wherever she's at. You know what I'm saying? Because she was a real bitch. And she ended up getting fired. You know what I'm saying? Matter of fact, like I said, I came back to the mall about 3 months later, and they told me, "Oh yeah, she got fired." Yeah, you should have hired your boy. But I'm glad that they didn't. And that's just one instance out that I can think of off the top of my head, which I can probably think of way more, where rejection turned into a blessing. You feel me? And it just reminded me of don't be afraid of the word no, because had I got that job, I probably would have been, no, I would have worked it differently, but, you know, she was miserable. And I laughed at that shit when they told me that. Like, she was miserable. She ended up getting fired. And, you know, it went on. Now they don't even have, I don't even know if Sunrise Mall is even open, but I remember a year later, they terminated the whole customer service booth anyway. So that shit worked out in my favor, man. You know what I mean? Honestly. So, you know, that's just one example, right? I'm going to give y'all another example, right? Why I'm in Japan. One of the reasons why I'm in Japan, right? So I'm in Japan, or I'm in Hawaii. I'm doing my thing, right? Now, the supervisor that we had that hired me, he ended up leaving because they kept promising him a GS like 11 position. He was a 9, and they hired him promising him, you know, this higher position, which they kept bullshitting him. So he said fuck it, and he left. Then the chief that we had in there, Army chief, he ended up leaving. So it was just me and Woods in there, and we doing all the work under another chief of the whole department. You know what I'm saying? So me and Woods is doing all the fucking work. So then they hired this other lady. I forget her name. Damn, it hasn't even been that long. Well, they hired her, and I was just like, I don't know about this, bruh. This is another situation where we're going to have to teach her the job. Plus, they was about to hire Beverly up in that office. Now, Beverly was cool. Like, Beverly was fine as a motherfucker. And that's another reason why I didn't want to stay in that office. Because I'm like, I'm going to fuck around and say something to her fine ass that gets my ass fired. Because her and this other lady supervisor is hella cool. Woods end up taking the job across the hall. A promotion across the hall. And, so he was already leaving too. So I didn't want to sit in the office where they just talking Spanish all motherfucking day, for one. Two, I didn't want to have to teach this lady who was non-knowledgeable about our whole department the job. And three, I was going to say something to Beverly by now. Like, hey, Beverly, if you ever see this, you are fine as a motherfucker. Like, hey, you can get it. You know what I'm saying? If you ever become single again, yeah, man. Yeah. Holla at your boy. Anyways, man, not to get off topic. You feel me? So, this is one of the main reasons why I came to Japan, right? So, before Woods went over across the hall where he came from and took the promotion, they had sent out an email. The army had sent out an email, right? Saying, hey, we need volunteers to go to Kuwait, Poland, Jordan, and maybe like one other place. You know what I'm saying? It was only for 6 months, right? It was only for 6 months. So I'm like, you know what? I see what's going on around here. They bringing in somebody new. Woods about to jump ship. I'm going to just be the last man standing around this bitch, and I don't feel like it. So let me just bounce for 6 months, and then I can come back when everything's kind of settled and get back in my groove, right? So I wanted to go to Kuwait. So I filled out all the paperwork. I had a supervisor, sign off on it because this lady hadn't formally taken over yet to sign off on my shit, right? And I remember it had to go up to this lady named Captain Bodette. You know what I mean? At the warehouse where I used to work, they called her SLB, stupid little bitch. Nobody liked her. You know, she was kind of pretty though. You know what I mean? But she never rubbed me the wrong way. You know what I mean? So I didn't have no reason to be beefing with her, right? So I remember I had to go to her desk for her to sign off on, right? Now, there was this other lady named Norma. She used to work across the hall as like the chief of housekeeping, but she moved down to the warehouse where I just came from before I got a promotion to the hospital as the chief down there, right? Now, one day, I got my paperwork all signed off, and it's supposed to be a smooth process once you get your paperwork signed off on. I'm supposed to go TDY for 6 months. I was going to make some tax-free money, so I was about to probably come back with like 10 or 12 bands and then come back into my job, like I said, and wait for them to get all settled in to the shit and then do my thing. You know what I mean? That was my plan. I just wanted to leave for 6 months and come back, right? Mind you, I didn't feel like, as much as I gave them in that 2 years, I didn't feel like that was too much for me to ask for, right? So I remember Captain Bodette, I seen her a couple times, and she was giving me the runaround, like, yeah, it's gonna, I know about your paperwork, and it's gonna get signed. I seen her like 2 times. One at a potluck down at the warehouse, and she gave me the runaround, like, oh yeah, I'm gonna sign off on it, And another time she came into my office for something, and I asked her about it. She's like, oh yeah, we're still working it. I signed off on it. I just gotta push it up. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, okay. So there was a chief of the department, like I said. After the other chief at our office left, his name was Chief Pagan, right? One day he was retiring. One day he called me in the office. He was like, hey, man, come here. He was like, hey, they hating on you. I was like, huh? He's like, hey, man, they trying to, you trying to go to Kuwait? I'm like, yeah, how do you know? He's like, man, they hating on you, man. I was like, what happened? He was like, man, I'm reading the emails. He's like, Norma's blocking you, talking about you shouldn't be allowed to go. They need you here and all this other shit, right? I'm like, what? Now, I had no idea that Norma had a say-so in it, you know what I mean? Because she was working in the whole nother department as the chief. Then she went down to the warehouse to be the chief there, which is still kind of logistics, but she has no say-so up here in the hospital, you know what I mean, where I was working at. So I'm like, all right, appreciate you putting me up on some game, you know what I mean? Now, let me give y'all a little backstory about Norma, why I know she was hating on me, right? Okay. So my son's mom lived in Hawaii with me, you know what I'm saying? And I got my son's mom a job in housekeeping at the hospital. Norma was the supervisor. Like I said, she was the chief of the department. So she hired my son's mom just on the strength of knowing me, because we was cool at the time. You know what I'm saying? And all my son's mom had to do, bro, she didn't have to clean no toilets like housekeeping, like it sounds like clean up shit. No, bro. All she had to do was walk into a room with this machine on wheels, plug it in, and then what it does is like cleans the air in the room. You know what I mean? And all she had to do was plug that shit in, sit on her ass for 15 minutes and play on her phone until the shit beeped, take it out, go to whatever other room was on the tablet for it to get sterilized, I guess, that day. That's all she had to do, right? Longer story short, me and my son's mom get into an argument about some petty ass shit one day. She leaves work early, I didn't know, but when I came home, she had bounced. All her shit was gone and my son was gone, you know what I mean? And she ended up going back to California, and that's where she's been since. You know what I'm saying? That turned into a blessing itself. Because like I said, I probably wouldn't be in Japan if all this shit didn't transpire. So first, my son's mom did that, you know what I mean? Then Norma moved down to the warehouse, you know what I mean? But when Chief Pagan told me about Norma hating on me, I already knew where it's coming from. Because my son's mom, she didn't formally turn in her 2-week notice. She just upped and bounced, which kind of made me look bad because I put my name out there for you and they hired you on the strength of me. You know what I'm saying? So even though Norma wasn't in that department no more, she still held a grudge against me for some shit that my son's mom did. Okay, cool. He told me Captain Baudet was in there like, okay, you know, which Norma shouldn't have more power than Captain Baudet to sign off on my shit. You know what I'm saying? But anyways, them two was conspiring to keep me in Hawaii, and they wasn't nobody telling me. They were just giving me the runaround. So had Chief Pagan not told me that shit, I probably would have still been waiting around like, what's going on? But as soon as he told me that, I'm like, okay, y'all want to do that? Y'all want to play games like that? Okay. I heard Woods always talking about Japan. Like, okay, I'm going to start looking up jobs from Japan. What did I do? I looked up jobs from Japan. I fucked around and got an interview. Longer story short, I'm in Japan. Now, let me tell y'all something. They cut off their ear despite their nose. I've been in Japan almost 2 years. Instead of just letting me go for 6 months, now they have to hold my same job that I had in Hawaii for up to 5 years. It's called return rights. So, y'all tried to fuck me over and not just let me go do my thing for 6 months and come back, and everything would have been fine. But now, instead of just 6 months, y'all have to hold my job for 5 whole years, up to 5 whole years if I choose to stay in Japan for 5 years, right? So I won in the end, you feel me? Because not only do I get to come to Japan for up to 5 years or longer if I want to, the only thing is if I stay longer than 5 years, then I'll lose that job. I'll have to find another job whenever I do come back from Japan. But I'm going right back to the same job. So I'm playing with house money right now, and I live a great life in Japan. You know what I mean? So that's just another example of how rejection becomes a blessing and how you shouldn't be afraid of the word no, because it worked out again. You know what I'm saying? Now let's talk about men and women getting rejected by, other men and women. You know what I'm saying? Or sometimes the same sex. I don't know nothing about that, but let's just include everybody. You feel me? I've seen niggas end up with bitches that told me no or rejected me, right? Be miserable as fuck when they got those bitches. And it just made me think like, woo, I'm glad I dodged that bullet right there. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't think of how many times I try to get at a bitch and she rejected me and cool. Like, I'm gonna move on to the next bitch. Like, bitch, I'm me. Just because you don't see that right now doesn't mean that somebody else won't. You know what I'm saying? And I've had those instances where bitch rejected me and she seen how I was doing later on and wanted to come back. It could never be the same way that I was trying to make it be. Yeah, some of them I smashed on, but I treated them like shit after that because I ain't forgot how you try to do me, and I only know why you trying to come back and fuck with me. So yeah, I'm gonna fuck you, but ski skirt out. You know what I'm saying? But anyways, like I said, I've seen bitches reject me, get with another nigga, and that nigga just be miserable as fuck, and I'd be like, damn, I'm glad I dodged that fucking bullet. So Y'all should never be afraid of the word no, man. Sometimes, like I said, rejection is a blessing. You know what I'm saying? Like, rejection can be a blessing, man. And we had 20 minutes on this video. I didn't want to make it too long, but I just want to give y'all a few examples of, how rejection can be a blessing, and you shouldn't be afraid of the word no. Now, with all that being said, I'm going to add a little bit more. Don't be afraid to say no to people either. All right? Don't be afraid to say no to people either. Sometimes family, friends, loved ones, strangers, sometimes you just have to say no. All right? Don't be afraid of that either, because that works both ways. You know what I'm saying? Give y'all another example, right? I ain't going to say no names, but I have this child. And this child likes to ask me for money. With the agreement that you're going to pay me back. This child always texts me, Dad, can I have some money? It's like $30 here, $50 there. You know what I'm saying? And the reason why I always give this child money is because I don't want my child to go out and do something stupid I know my child just wants to smoke some weed. You feel me? Like, the amounts of money that this child asks for, I know that they just want to go buy some weed. But my thing is I don't want to hear about my child doing something stupid to the point where they try to get a couple little dollars and then they end up getting themselves into some stupid shit or even worse. And I would feel bad, like, damn, I should have just gave my child this money instead of being petty when I know I got it to spend. They know I got it to spend. But now it's come to the point where this child is in a relationship with somebody who is older than them, and they can get this money from that person. You know what I'm saying? And, just recently, maybe about 2 weeks ago, this child hit me up again. Hey, Dad, can I have $30? You know what I mean? And I was thinking to myself, you know what? I should just leave this person on red. I should just say no. But, I decided, you know what? I'm over you're going to go do something stupid to get someone, like, nah, that's out. Anyways, the cost of me sending you $30 was the cost of me being funny with you by telling you, hey, man, you in a relationship with somebody now that's grown, ask them for some money. I'm paraphrasing myself, you know what I mean? But the next time that this child, I ain't gonna say no names of mine, ask me for some money, don't be surprised if you're just left on red or I just flat out say no, because that was the last time I'm giving a person some money. So I say all that because I can't be preaching to y'all that it's okay to say no to friends and family members and I not do the same thing. So that damn near goes. And on top of that, this child never pays me back. It says, Dad, I'm going to pay you back when I get paid. And I'm thinking to myself, when they sent that just last week, like, you don't even have a job. How you going to pay me back? You must have forgot that you told me you're not working right now. Anyways, that's neither here nor there, man. I love this child to death, by the way. You feel me? I do. I love my child. I love all my children to death. But it just comes a time where sometimes you got to let grown people be adults. You know what I'm saying? And that's a whole nother version of game time that I'll give y'all a whole nother day. But don't be afraid of the word no. Rejection is a blessing. And don't be afraid to tell people no either. And that is the game that I'm trying to give to y'all. So, like I said, I hope this video reaches, if it reaches one person, it don't matter. If it reaches 1,000, cool. But as long as one person gets the message, that's all that matters. Sorry that this video was a long video. Like I said, hit that subscribe button below so you can be the first to know and help the channel grow. I want to give away $100. I'm trying to tell y'all, yeah, with $100. You know what I'm saying? Free money. All y'all got to do is subscribe. It's free. So, thanks for watching. It's King.